wanted to show you directly from the source documents where this plan is coming from so that you can understand and fight some of the spin because you'll be able to see it for yourself. First off, did anybody sign the petition that they were going around collecting in June or July? I know I was stopped in Publix. My daughter was stopped. I've had friends call me up. They were very aggressive. It's a 5-page, single-spaced, small font petition, and that's and Sharon has a copy of it. She'll go through it, but distilled in that is it's a 30-year tax. It's a 1% county surtax. It's $16 billion over 30 years. Think about that. I think they're quibbling right now at the federal level because the Republicans actually went over the 1.3 trillion, and it's like 10 or 11 billion. That's what they're quibbling on here in our county. They want to extract 16 billion from us for what I believe is very frivolous list of projects. If you look at it, the first year it's going to be $280 million is what they are projecting. If you just do simple math, there's 1.4 million people here in Hillsborough County. 280 divided by 1.4, that means for every man, woman, and child, or actually, and then times 4, their burden is $200. Now, Nancy Pelosi probably thinks that's crumbs, but if you're on a fixed income, it's very, very important, and it can make a difference. So it's over $35,000 over the 30-year life of it. So think about it. Do you have a spare $35,000? Most families don't have that. It's incredible. So that's the cost and the term. Anybody want to vote for it? Okay. So what is it funding? Well, that 5-page of regulations, they are very prescriptive in where that money goes in categories. And nowhere in that petition does it say it funds the LRTP, but the numbers kind of, sort of, and the categories kind of, sort of line up. But it overfunds transit and it underfunds roads. So this is a page from the LRTP. LRTP stands for Long Range Transportation Plan. It's a 20-year plan. So that's another problem. It's a 20-year plan being funded by a 30-year tax. Anybody have a problem with that? So in the plan, it has different categories. These happen to be road projects in the plan. Let's take the first one, Linebaugh, starting from Sheldon to Veterans Highway. It's a 4-lane divided road. They want to make it a 6-lane. Okay, that's a very congested part near West Chase. They want to widen it with 2 extra lanes to relieve the congestion. And then it gives you the cost, and it's over in this column. It says, well, how are you going to fund it? Well, that we could fund if we built this sales tax. So that's the plan that the planners in Hillsborough County have come up with. Every 5 years they update this plan, okay? But these are kind of the extra things that they could fund if they got a sales tax, okay? That's what this page is basically saying. They're cost feasible projects. If we had the sales tax, we would go to that. Well, unfortunately, the petition says none of these projects can be funded with the sales tax. So none of the funds can go to widen, and the whole idea is to widen, to relieve congestion. We're having 700,000 people come in over 30 years, and they're saying, yeah, we're going to collect $16 billion, but you can't widen roads, and you can't build new roads. And there's probably not many of you, because it's far, that are living in South County. It's a housing boom. They're building new schools down there. So they're going to build these schools and no roads to connect them, is basically what this plan does. It's very constricting. So these roads are not funded in the LRTP, or excuse me, are in the petition in the sales tax. But you say, well, the ballot language says, in the very beginning, it says, do you want a 1% county transportation tax to, and then it gives you a list. The first thing it says is improve roads and bridges. And then it says, fund transit, and it gives you a whole laundry list of things, build sidewalks and trails. And so When they mean road improvements, what they mean is sidewalks, bus lanes, street lights, stormwater, intersection improvements, and timing the lights. A couple things are pretty good in there, right? And what they don't mean is building new roads or widening congested roads. It is expressly forbidden in the language in the 5 pages of very small print. So 0 funds dedicated to new or widening roads. Does anybody think that's going to solve congestion? Okay, and it also says road and bridge improvements. However, we look at the funding plan that the county came up with. It says, it's hard to read, but there's 3 categories here: road maintenance, bridge maintenance, and transit maintenance. And it gives you all these different ways. There's different pots of money. And so, for example, the road maintenance, state highway system, operating and maintenance gives some money. You have a strict state transit allocation, you have state fuel taxes, you have local fuel taxes, and then it says new funding source. New funding source is that 1% sales tax. Okay, so they're saying you could do all these projects if you have the 1% sales tax. You can do this, this extra bit of road maintenance. However, in bridge, there is no new funding source. Okay, that's an X there. So you see it here under bridges, you see it here under transit maintenance, but under bridges, there's 0 allocation from the 1% sales tax. So when they say we need this, it's going to help our bridge maintenance. There's a lot of roads and bridges, a couple of failing bridges in Hillsborough County. But if you vote against this tax, it's not like you're going to fall off, going over the bridge, because it's funded with other money. So they're being very deceptive. They're telling you it's for roads and bridges, but yet there's no funding in their plan. Their plan constricts it, or was never planned to fund that in the first place. And then you're going to see all these glossy mailers. Has anybody gotten a glossy mailer in the mail? I've gotten 2 so far. Okay, Lou brought his, Sharon brought hers. Okay. And nowhere on that are you going to see a train, because they've poll tested it and they know that if they use the word rail, or if they use the word train, or if they use the word choo-choo, nobody's going to vote for it. So you won't see that in that 5 pages of single-spaced small print. But if you go to the LRTP and what's being funded, there are 4 trains. 4 trains. This one, what they do say is fixed guideway transit. That's how they're getting around it. So whenever you hear fixed guideway, think of a railroad track, okay? Kind of embed that in your mind. So the first one is downtown to USF. It's a diesel choo-choo train running on the train tracks. Now, I thought the whole point of this is to get people out of their cars. We're going to be real green. Not so much. It's going to fund the second one is a train from downtown to West Shore. It's a light rail. That one's a light rail. They call it modern tram, but it's a light rail system. The third one is a people mover. Does anybody here remember the people mover we had at Harbor Island? Do you remember what happened to that? Nobody wrote it, and the developer ended up having to pay the city of Tampa to demolish it. Thankfully, it was a private investment, and it didn't really cost the city anything, because that's the way it should be.
Where do they want to plan to put that?
This one is a people mover to extend from the airport to, where Charlie's Steakhouse is in Doubletree? That's where they want to build a multimodal station, and there's money in here for transit. And then the 4th train is they want to fund the coal-burning, gas-burning streetcar. They want to extend it. The one that nobody's riding, the one that the DOT has just bailed out so everybody can ride free, so they can kind of boost their ridership. That's the 4th train that is being funded in here. And you know that because they put sales tax over here. These are all train projects that would be funded with the 1% tax if we vote on it. So when someone says, there's no train, you know 4 that are in there. You can cite 4. This is, I don't know, 100 page 60 of the 200 page LRTP. Yep.
Well, Karen, before you go past that too fast. Page 160.
Well,
long way, or whatever the
page, it's something like that.
Of the long range transportation plan, the LRTP, long range transportation plan. We have to be conversant in that stuff. Because again, they'll give you brain dead, brain dumb, blah, 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 blah. And you can say, have you looked at the long-range transportation plan? This is specifically where it is identified. Chapter 5. Okay? The whole purpose of us doing this tonight is for us to get really good and conversant in this, so that we, as we're taking those 10 people that you all agreed to, you remember agreeing to that earlier this evening? Yeah, I didn't think so. So anyway, it'd be nice if you did though. We want to be conversant in this, so.
This is the long-range transportation plan.
Oh,
It's in here.
It's chapter 5.
The
It's
trade
much
is in
smaller.
there.
That's
Yeah.
But you can get it
chapter
online.
5.
Yeah, you can
It's online.
get it online.
Karen, I have a question. You said that they can't include building new roads or alleviating congestion because that's not allowed. Is that disallowed by law or just not in the plan?
So what you're actually voting on is an amendment to the county charter. Okay, the county charter, I'm gonna say is about 10 pages long. And you're basically you're amending that charter by adding 5 pages of single space, small font to that charter. The charter that says we shall have a county commission and we shall have this many representatives now is gonna say, you're gonna be taxed 1%, and it's gonna go, 45% of that money is going to HART, the other half is going to these kind of swirly projects.
So it's currently not allowed by county charter? Is that correct?
Not currently.
It's not in there currently. What this amendment does is it amends it by adding a tax.
It adds a tax and says it cannot be
Yeah.
spent for
That's
the
right.
roads or.
That's
or
right.
That was my question.
And then they have an Sharon, are you gonna go this to the committee, any, the oversight that you have?
Well, I'm talking about it, but,
Okay.
you know, at the highest level, it grows government by creating a new transportation bureaucracy that will be stacked with City of Tampa appointees. It's a power grab by the City of Tampa, just remember that.
Yeah, so unelected people now are going to be lording over that $16 billion, so you can't vote them out. And they're going to give currently HART's county budget, the dollars they get from the county is about, round numbers, about 40 million. With this tax, it's going to give them an additional 120 million. So they're going to have
A year.
fourfold flush what they had before. Now, we used to have a kind of an aspirational plan. It's called a transit development plan. And it would say, if we could really put transit everywhere we need to in Hillsborough County, how much would it cost? And we came up with $300 million over 10 years, or $30 million extra. So of that, they're actually saying, no, we're going to give them $126 million. So, you know, it doesn't make sense. You talk about empty buses now? I mean, it's crazy.
And the MPO gets funded too.
And who likes to ride behind a bus on the road?
Yeah.
I'll get into that.
So
All right.
some of the, going back to the street improvements, when they talk road improvements, one of the things that they're going to be funding is 450 miles of what they call complete streets. And that to them is congestion relieving, you know, complete streets. Well, if you think about what complete streets are, let's say you have Kennedy Boulevard. Is that 2 lanes or 3 lanes? I think it's 3 lanes divided road. Let's say they want to make that a complete street. Well, what they're going to do is they're going to block the farmost, the rightmost lane in each direction, and they're going to put a big concrete square there, and they're going to stripe it, and they're going to say, okay, this lane is for parking. They're going to stripe, then they're going to take the middle lane, and they're going to say, this is a bus lane. So only buses can go on this lane. And then they're going to leave you, and then they're going to narrow the lane that's left so they can stripe a bike lane in there. So then they're going to reduce the speed. When you narrow a road, you have to reduce the speed. You can't go the same speed on a narrower road. And they call that a complete street because it's for pedestrians, it's for buses, it's for automobiles, and it's for bikes. They call that a complete street. It's complete, all the traffic can be used on it. But what they fail to recognize is that's actually going to cause more congestion, right? Now you have, you know, a bottleneck. on those 450 miles of road that they want to put these treatments on. You're going to have more traffic, you're going to have more air pollution because the cars are going to be on the road longer burning fuel. So it's bad on so many levels, and can't use any of this for new roads when we are expecting 700,000 people over the next 30 years. So more cars are going to be on the road with less kind of roads to move them.
There's actual language in the amendment that forbids any of the money that's for these road projects to be used for new road capacity or any new roads. There's
Yep.
actual specific
It's in
language.
there. I have a clip of that line, and I probably should
Yeah.
include it. But like we said, you don't see a train in any of their advertisements, right? This is one of the mailers. Do you see any train? So the problem is that people see this and they're just going to say, oh, I'm sick of being stuck in congestion. I mean, we see it when we were walking for Chris and Brandon. I mean, I feel sorry for those people. The roads there are probably the worst. So they see that and they're like, well, if it's going to fix my road, maybe I'll do it. But they don't know what it really is funding and what it's not funding.
I see the word common sense, I immediately know that I'm in opposition.
Yeah. And then just, a couple of things that makes Hillsborough County the highest taxed county. Currently, the highest one is at 8%. This would be, if coupled with the school tax, we'd be at 8.5%. So it's 150% more than the penny, 2.5 cents is 150% more than 1 penny. Right now we're paying 1. And it's going to hurt those that are struggling on fixed incomes. Zero goes to new roads are widening, but billions are going to the train. And Sharon's going to tell us who is funding that. But $34,000 over a 30-year life for a family of 4. That's just, I can't get it. So with that, I'm going to turn the rest of the presentation over to Sharon, who will tell you who's behind this and why. And
Can
how
I
we-
ask my question?
Yeah.
What Einstein planners are proposing this?
That's a whole other thing, but, and I'm going to repeat some of what she said. And this whole thing about the MPO is federally mandated. What we would love to see is that it goes away. Devolve transportation mostly back to the states where it belongs. Get rid of the MPO. They are a based metropolitan planning organization.
MPO, not-
So there's one in Hillsborough, there's one in Pinellas, there's one in Pasco. And by the way, some people want to regionalize it. Well, I don't want that either. I just want the MPO to go away and be eliminated. Where's the?
It doesn't work on a PDF, so I'll do your.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. This is the tagline, guys. Vote no on rail tax and fix our roads first. Because that's our problem. It's not a train, it's our roads. That's the tagline. We hope you will start seeing some signs. All right, some of this is repetitive, but you really need to have it sink in. It's forcing through regulatory gobbledygook, and let me take this. Small print, 5 pages. What they are doing is taking the county charter and making it 1.5 times the size it is now, with one tax hike. It's forcing billions to be spent on rail. No funding, as we kept saying. So anytime anybody approaches you and shows you, oh my gosh, look at what this tax is going to solve this, you tell them, no, it's not. Because you cannot solve this problem if you don't add lane capacity in new roads. It's physically impossible, and it sure as heck ain't common sense. But they love it.
Can we pull that up online somewhere?
Oh, yeah, you can send it out.
Yeah.
You really need to read it. You will get sick to your stomach. And I'm going to tell you this. This is the most devious and deceitful tax hike that I have ever seen. What they are doing. It is worse than 2010, and the reason why, I'll get there in a minute, so I won't go there yet. But what what they do in the regulatory gobbledygook is not only is it bad to begin with, but when it totally fails, when there's an economic downturn, you can't change anything. On the transit side, I'm going to use Jim Davison's words, it's great, they've recession-proofed it. Which says on the transit side, that 7 to 8 billion, it's got to be paid. If there's a downturn, even the sidewalks might get hit. The road money would have to go over on the transit side. On the road side, in that 5 pages of gobbledygook, you can't change the bike paths and the sidewalks. You can't even reallocate the money. It is devious, it is deceitful, it is egregious, extremely egregious. As I said, it grows government, creates a whole other bureaucracy. Appointed, that it's going to be stacked the way it's all regulatory, and all the regulations is on the county, not the municipalities, the county. It's going to be stacked by City of Tampa because it's a power grab. If in little pieces of it that you can change, on that new bureaucracy, it takes a 75% super majority to even change a little bit of it. Which means, guys, if this passes, the only way you get rid of it is to repeal it. Or you're stuck. You can't change it. There's going to be a downturn over 30 years. The transit, something's going to fail. We're in a dynamic time of transportation, innovation, and technology, and we're going to get stuck. I mean, it's absurd. Totally absurd. All right. Now, this is the catch thing that they've done to us. They have told the media, and I have been told, and they're out there saying, oh, it's funding the LRTP, the Long Range Transportation Plan that Karen just went through. She told you what's in that plan. Lots of rail. And in the plan itself, it actually has lots of roads. Okay? Lots of road capacity. In fact, it's got, so if you take a comparison, thank you, Jim Davison, I'm using your work, he did it. If somebody says, well, it's funding that LRTP, that was an approved plan, we're going to get all this great stuff. No. If you do a side-by-side, this is 20 years or 22 years versus 30 years, it underfunds new roads by $1 billion. You're not getting $1 billion. And you extrapolate that out to 30 years, it's worse. It's overfunding transit by this amount. And it's overfunding. You can't change this, and you can't change that. By 260 million, excuse me, I left that. 260 million. And if you extrapolate out 30 years, well, you know, the problem only grows. But this is the page from the LRTP. And I know you can't see it.
That's chapter 5.
In chapter rail, it has rail. They wrote rail in it. When they're saying this is our 1 cent scenario, which is a 1 cent tax funding, guess what though? They have highway capacity in their 1 cent. Tell me, first of all, 20 and 30 year, the petition uses percentages. Percentages are nowhere in the MPO Long Range Transportation Plan. They use dollars. When somebody tells you it's funding the LRTP, you say, no, it's not. But then you say, you tell me what it's funding, and I'm going to tell you what it's not funding. It is extremely egregious. So, this is the takeaways. It's not funding any known plan that we know. There's been no vetting. There's been no engineering. It's basically, they took the LRTP and took some wording out of it. But if you notice in the petition, the charter amendment will never say long-range transportation plan. It has no reference to it at all. It is made up. It was funding allocations. And I'm telling you, the LRTP is not in percentage funded allocations, it's in dollars. Made up, and it was written by transit advocates. And if you know the name of Kevin Thurman and Brian Willis, those are the two guys that connect Tampa Bay, they wrote it. As again, there's not even a category in that whole charter amendment for new roads. There's not even a category. In the LRTP or the MPO, there's a category. So see what they're doing to us. It's funding the LRTP. No, it's not. But they can say it is, or they can say it's not. They can have it both ways, because that's the way they're playing the game. Anything. They will say anything to pass this tax. Now, okay, this is hard to see, so I'm going to show you it here as well.
It's harder to see.
Okay.
Thank you.
Who funded this darn thing?
Jeff Dillon.
This is the swamp. This is the latest, and it'll grow. The swamp's growing on this tax. This tax would not be on the ballot if not for this man. Okay? Because 13 people through their last filing, which was, I don't know, a week or so ago, on campaign filing, 13 allies of Jeff Vinnick have donated $1,080,000 to the PAC supporting this that got it on the ballot. They've only raised 1,080, I don't know. Individuals have given 0.1%. 13 donors have raised over $1 million. If you look through this, so I'm going to go through some of these people because you need to know who you're dealing with. You really do. Coastal Construction is the construction company for Vinnickville. Vinnick is a member of the Tampa Bay Partnership, and so is Sykes. Sykes Enterprises is tied to the baseball stadium, and John Sykes. John Sykes is his father. Frank Bersani is tied to Vinnick through the USF Medical School named after him, and he's given. Christina Barker used to work for Mayor Buckhorn. About the time that this petition hype started, she coincidentally got hired by Jeff Vinnick to run the campaign. She's running the campaign for him. Allie Wilson is Kevin Thurman's wife. She works for Jeff Vinnick. Kevin Thurman wrote the darn thing. What? You think somebody's had somebody's ear? Real Law is Tampa Bay Partnership. Baycare. Nonprofit hospital has what? $50,000 to spare. They spend a lot of money on lobbying, by the way. I looked at them. They spend $600,000 and $700,000 lobbying for Medicaid and all kinds of stuff.
And we give them our tax money to carry.
Well, Baycare and Tampa General get our taxes because we pay a half-cent indigent care tax. And Tampa General in particular because they get a lot of, Tampa General, and by the way, you know what they did with Tampa General's money? They were $125,000. They ran it through their for-profit coffee shop. So their campaign filing said the House of Coffee Tampa, because it's for profit and there's no restrictions on political activity for a for-profit. But it's Tampa General. It's a wholly owned subsidiary by the nonprofit that runs Tampa General. I mean, really, you look at this and you go, really? Pretty sneaky. Carlton Fields was a big donor to moving Hillsborough forward in 2010. All of them were. They're all the same people. Darrell Shaw, Ivor Land LLC. You know who Darrell Shaw is? Baseball stadium. He's Hagen's crony. He's the guy that's bought up all that property where the baseball stadium's going. He's going to make a man. Hey, putting in $50,000 for him, no problem. I'm going to make it exponentially back. All of these people, another attorney is this. So all of these, Kimmons Contracting. You know who Kimmons Contracting is? The contracting company that they hired to do his infrastructure in Vinnickville. Can you believe this? It's just one big happy family. It doesn't matter what party you are, guys. It's not a party It's not a party thing, it's a power thing. It is a power thing. If you go down through here, I'm just gonna say, and this is another thing you gotta be aware of. Keep Hillsborough Moving is a nonprofit connected to the PAC. Where have these come from? Both of these. This is not coming from the PAC. So if you see, it doesn't say anything about vote against or vote for or support. It's just this touchy-feely stuff. I want to get out of traffic, so, there's some plan out there, and that's dark money. Because nonprofits don't have to disclose their donors. Can you imagine what this cost? This big thing? This was a nice chunk of change. It's all dark money. We don't know who the donors are. We don't know what their expenditures are. I mean, they'll have to do a 990, but it'll be a lump sum, right? So Keep Hillsborough Moving is the connected nonprofit to AFT. And all this money here, I mean, all these people might be dumping 3 times the amount over here. We don't know. Dark money. They have a chair, and I'm just going to tell who these, right now, Tampa Chamber and South Chamber have already voted to support it. Brandon Chamber has not voted, and I'm not sure if they are. Stacy White's on the board. I hope he convinces them not to. He is against it. You come over here. Tyler Hudson is the chair of the PAC. He's also on the board of Keep Hillsborough Moving. He also is a member of the Greater Tampa Chamber. Oh boy, Huh? Oh, he was Yeah, he was an Obama. Yeah. And he's the director of the Tampa Heights Civic Association. The Tampa Heights Civic Association was really kind of the catalyst for the Stop TPX group that stopped the expansion of it's already laid, or we're going to study ourselves into infinity and never going to be done. But anyway, they want to tear down 275 from Barris Avenue to downtown and put it in Street Boulevard with the train. These are the people, guys. And that are part of Stop TBX. Kimberly Overman, she's the Democrat running against Todd Marks. And I talked to Todd about this, by the way. She was a leader this week. She's running countywide. I don't think many people countywide want the interstate going down. Guess who else is on here? You know Robert Watkins. You know Nancy Watkins, right? Her husband, Robert Watkins, is chair of the Hillsborough Aviation Authority. He's on the board of Hillsborough Moving. Pretty powerful position. And he is a big Republican. Like I said, it's not party, guys. It's not party. It's money and power. Janet Scherberger, who is she? She works for Lapana. So think about it. She's on the board of the connected nonprofit to the PAC, supporting it. She's all over the place supporting it online and everything. She works as VP of Governmental Relations for TIA. She works for an airport that, while they're not funded by taxes like Orlando is, they don't, or Hart is, they are a special taxing district. You know they've received gobs and gobs of money because they just did that huge expansion. And some of it was state money, some of it was federal money, and then they bonded out the fees, the parking fees and the rental car fees. But is that an ethical thing? Should she really be out telling everybody else to raise their taxes when she's working for the airport that receives taxpayer money? I don't know. I think it stinks, and I think it smells right. I'm like, when you come over here, Kevin Berman and Brian Willis used to be with Connect Tampa Bay. By the way, Connect Tampa Bay used to be a committee of a young group, young millennial tech committee off the Tampa Bay Partnership. So it's all the same happy family. When you come down here, these are the people that are getting money from the PAC. Mercury PR firm is a PR firm that's connected to Jane Castor, mayor candidate for City of Tampa. They also were the ones that did that funny little poll during Go Hillsborough and said, everybody wants this thing. 60% like the tax. And that was when it was 0.5%. But remember what they said? Ken Hagan came out and said, oh, isn't this great? Everybody wants this tax. But we're not going to tell you funded that pole was a businesses, unidentified businesses. Well, guess what? It's all these people. They funded that pole line, that's what I think. Catalyst Communications is, I think that is one of these is their website people, but this is all their messaging. So this kind of stuff is all coming from those types of people. By the way, when they got it on the ballot, I forget the amount, it was over 600,000, I believe, that they spent with Revolution Strategies out of 750,000. Yeah, they had a professional running their campaign. Now, you get down here, who else is here that you see? Oh my goodness, remember her, Beth Latham? She's smack in the middle of this, guys. Again, you're not going to see her name, but she's in the background, and I know for a fact that is true. Beth Alden. This is where you really need to get upset. She is the director of the NPO. That's her NPO. Say her name. Beth Alden. She's a problem. I don't even know what it is.
She's ultimately responsible.
She's ultimately responsible for the 20, she was a director when the 2040 plan was done. She doesn't care that rail has been defeated every time. She will tell you to your face that there's going to be rail in the 2045 plan that they're already started on. It doesn't matter. She also was the one that helped bring the tear down the interstates person in to speak to the MPO. Have you ever been able to do a 20-minute presentation to the MPO? I get my 3-minute public comment. They invited the guy to tear down the interstates to present to the entire board, and I was at that meeting. I don't know if you were too, but it was pretty profound to sit and watch some guy make a presentation with really nothing behind it to this important board. And the NPO, in case you don't know, it has electeds from the city of Tampa, Plant City, Temple Terrace, the county commission, Hearts on there, the airport's on there, Port Authority, and the school district and FDOT. Is FDOT? Yeah. It's probably one of the most powerful boards in Hillsborough County, because transportation is such an issue. And all funding comes through this board. Unfortunately, Beth Alden lives in Seminole Heights. She is, I would believe, she's really kind of with these group of people. And I would not be surprised, just because of the verbiage that we see, that she was not, and I don't want to make a false accusation, but my skepticism is that she helped break this thing. Now think about it. She's a taxpayer-funded entity. If she probably didn't sit down with them and write it all, but I bet that she had guidance on this thing. She wants a train so bad, and she wants Seminole Heights to have a boulevard so bad that she will do anything to get this done. And if you've gone out and taken the 2045 survey, it's totally rigged. You can't ask for new roads unless you ask for it in the comments section. This is the cabal. And you're talking about taxpayer-funded entities, you're talking about powerful downtown special interest, you're talking about the urbanists who have become very vocal, but that's the swamp. And this is what you're up against. I do not believe that most people agree with this, and most people do not understand what they're doing. So that's why we're trying to educate you, because you've got to go out and you've got to talk to your neighbors and you've got to talk to your friends and your family, and you've got to tell them that yes, we all agree we have a transportation problem, but we have to fix our roads first. And from a transit perspective, maybe we need to do a little more, but the point is, this is a bad plan. What's really sad is our county commissioners aren't stepping up. I know Todd is against it, but look who Victor's running. I mean, what did you just, he wouldn't say, and in that candidate forum and saying how he said he was against it. He just didn't want to answer. If you want to vote for somebody on a critical issue and they won't even say where they stand on an issue, we need leadership in this county. You know, we need leadership. If you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. That's my opinion. But Sandy Merman, you know, if I were you in Hillsborough County, I would, and we can go to the next one because we really need help here. I'd be calling your county commissioner and saying, what are you going to do to help fight this thing? So, as you see, fixourroadsfirst.com. Go to, if you click on that, it'll take you to the Facebook page. We just established, or in the process, is almost done, establishing a nonprofit. Oops.
Oh, I did that. I was gonna go to it.
Okay. If you, on your phone now, just go into fixourroadsfirst.com and it'll take you right to the Facebook page because that's where it's directed to. Like the page. We are in the process of getting this as a nonprofit. It is not a PAC, but we can play their game just as they can. So what we would like to do is be able to get some yard signs and do some digital ads. Whatever we could with money, that we can do a lot with a little, but we are going to need some money. So as soon as we can get the nonprofit, we're waiting to hear back from some biz in Tallahassee, we'll be able to put a donate button on, right, Karen?
We have to file something with Harvard Compute.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we.
Well, you know what, guys? We can still tell you that the bottom line is we need some money. If you want to fight this thing, guys, you're going to have to ante up some money. We've got to get some yard signs out. We've got to do some digital advertising. We can do it very targeted. Forget the city, do the county. The county is where it's going to be won at. And maybe, fund some robocalls right as the, early voting is starting. But you can sit there, but I'm telling you, I'm hearing polling that's saying 65% a winner. If we don't start fighting this, it's going to pass. And you're going to be stuck with something much worse than 2010. It's a very egregious tax. And it's not just the tax, it's not just the amount, it's the egregiousness and the deviousness of what they are doing and how much they are misleading the public with what they are doing. This is total false advertising and fraudulence, in my opinion. So anyway, hope I got you excited because you shouldn't just get excited, you should get mad, right?
Absolutely.
Karen?
Chair, I want to add that I read something in the paper when this first got put on that supposedly the allocation of it, yeah, it's going to be done by committee, but 45% was supposed to go to HART, and the other part was supposed to be distributed throughout the county and the various municipalities. Is that still the way it's going? Or
Well, they're going to do it.
1% goes to MPO.
Yeah, and the MPO is way overfunding. So the MPO only needed $16 million for 20 years. They're getting $160 million. Can you imagine Beth Alden times $160 million? Are you kidding me? It's like central planning going out the gazoo. But yes, it will be, you know how the CIT tax was allocated? And they were going to do it with Hillsborough?
Yeah.
But the point is, Kelso, is that money, it's going to those jurisdictions, but they have no control over how it's spent. It has to be allocated how they say. So City of Tampa may not say, we can't widen our roads because we don't have anywhere to widen them, right? Maybe they're constrained just because they're built, then there's nowhere to widen. Well, get outside of downtown Tampa, some of those places need road widening. What is Plant City going to do? You live in Plant City, right?
I do.
Plant City, you need to tell those people out there, they are going to be royally messed up because Plant City's growing. They can't use that money for roads. Crazy.
So, if you don't know Jim Davis is a former candidate for city council. Dude is really, really smart. It makes me feel bad. Really, really
There's a
smart.
lot of empty space up there just asking away. You've had a lot of facts and figures, and all you have to remember is what Tim said, Sharon, Karen, is they are lying to you. And I can prove they are lying. The MPO, in their plan, even if they were following it, if you spent $9 billion on the MPO's long-range transportation plan, amount of congestion, vehicle hours that you spend in congestion, delayed, not being at home, in your car, would quadruple. That's if you spend it the way they want you to. The way they are gonna do it is gonna make it even worse. You're gonna have to leave earlier to get to work on time. You're gonna spend more time in traffic. There is not a transit company in America that is able to get you to work, door to door, from your house to work, faster than a car. It doesn't exist. They will tell you it does. It's a lie. Okay, that's the US Census data, and that is a fact.
Yeah, census data, the average commute in Tampa Bay is like 25 minutes. The average transit commute across the country is over 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna,
And I'm gonna tell you why they're doing it. They've all had your, I came up with a plan that I delivered to the Hillsborough County Commission on April the 4th. And basically, it gathers five different categories of revenue that already exist, except for a sales tax, but sales tax doesn't increase your taxes, I'll explain that. The bottom line is it raised over $8.5 billion, of which about 6.5 would go to transit, or to rail, to transportation. They got me talking about rail, all right? In that plan, there is a category called value capture. The Federal Transit Association says you really need to have value capture in any plan or we're not going to give you any money. And what value capture is when you build a rail or a bus rapid transit, the area around the stations, about a half a mile radius, so a mile in diameter, the property values go up so much faster than they do if you do not have that. To give you an example, when they put the streetcar from Ybor City to downtown Tampa, the properties along that rail line between 2002 and 2008 went up 300%. Don't you wish your house value went up 300% in 6 years? And so they're able to capture that money. They're able to capture that money and spend it to build. Give you an example, the city of Houston built their entire light rail with value capture. Didn't have to spend a penny with taxpayers. Seattle, where Vinnick's partner's buddy, Paul Allen, they built a streetcar. Not a penny of taxpayer money was used. And so I incorporated that into my plan. The county vetted it. Mike Merrill, Bonnie Wise, the director of finance, Tom Fessler, the director of the budget, took my numbers, looked at it, and they said, these numbers are correct. And so on June the 6th, with the value capture part of it in there, they passed it unanimously to move it on to the next phase, to the Citizens Advisory Committee, to have them digest it, go over it before it would come back to them. So there was already a plan the Board of County Commissioners had in place, but it had value capture in it. 3 days later, this petition came out. Mike Vinnick and Chuck Sykes and all those guys plan on using the value capture money to build their downtown, including the stadium. That is why you are seeing this done. That is why they spent $1 million to get this plan done that just has a sales tax in it and no value capture. That means they will get billions of dollars over the next 30 years in value capture to build what they want to build downtown. And so they are lying. This is the greatest rail robbery in the history of America. They want you to give them $15 billion so that they can make billions of dollars. And that $200 they had in sales tax, that's just the first year. It goes up 3% a year for the next 30 years. So over that period of time, you're going to be paying $400 or $500 a year in sales tax money. Anybody here from South County? Anybody here live south of Bloomingdale? You've heard about development building for itself, paying for itself and building. So they came out with this big mobility fee that they pay, and they touted it as development paying for itself. If you pass this sales tax, that mobility fee gets cut in half. It's cut in half. The mobility fee is an equation, and in that equation, sales tax is part of it. If you pass that 1 cent sales tax, 50% of that fee will be cut.
And that's why the developers are backing this. Yes.
This is about money, pure and simple. You have the reds and you got the blues, money's green. This is about money.
And that's why Sharon said that this is not about party. Because there are a lot of liars out there who will lie to you about this, and they'll also lie to you about being a Republican. Just ask Ken Hagan or Richard Cruz.
You can go to my website, is hillsborotransportation.com. It has my new, the plan on it. It's gonna have more things on it. There's a Facebook page to it, and there's a Twitter feed. Go there, you can send me an email, it's on the website. I'll try to answer any question you have.
Super. Jim, thanks so much.
No problem.
Kelso, come on up.